is it permissible to study at university when there is opportunities for free mixing? Obviously as well, the sister may not have mentioned it, but also regarding interest on the loans as well that you choose to take. Just generally in the West, living in the West, when going to university is, at least in the past, a very pivotal and extremely important endeavor in terms of qualifications and getting a good job in the future. So Shaykhana, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on this, inshallah.
Education in Islam is very crucial, very important. And I'm not talking about Islamic education only. I'm talking about both education, Sharia education and the worldly education. And the first ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in the Quran is اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. And that was an indication of the importance of knowledge in our lives as Muslims. And we cannot advance, we cannot go ahead with life by being ignorant. We have to educate ourselves to the best that is available for us. If we have institutions that segregates men and women, then well and good, we will attend those institutions and we will learn from them, because it will minimize the fitna. If those institutions are absent and they do not exist in our community, and the only institution that exists is the co-ed or mixed institution, then in this regard, we will be part of that institution, because this is from the hajiyat. As we know, Islam deals with three things. It deals with daruriyat, deals with hajiyat, and deals with tahsiniyat. And the ulama said the first two are crucial. So one is necessity and one is extremely need. And to have education in the Western society and in life today is very crucial. You cannot get a decent job, you cannot get a decent pay, you cannot advance yourself without education. So for us to be in this mixed situation because of education purposes, it is okay nowadays, provided that you can control yourself and you will not be dragged into the fitna. You will not be dragged if you know that you cannot resist all these girls, you cannot resist all these boys, and they will distract you and you will fall into a ma'siyah. Then I would say you must withdraw from that institution. And this is not only education institution, this is everywhere. If you think your work will cause a fitna, if you think your neighbor will cause a fitna, then you got to withdraw from that. And of course, education institution is no exception here. However, if you can maintain and control yourself and you can maintain your deen, yes, go ahead, learn and educate yourself and be independent, so you can provide for yourself and for your family, and make sure your intention is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the deen of Allah, to benefit yourself, to benefit your family, to benefit your ummah, to benefit your community. That is itself is an act of worship. When it comes to the idea of is the loan halal or haram, I cannot tell you what happens in UK, but I can only tell you what happens in Canada, because governments and countries are a little bit different. In Canada, the student loan is not halal because it accumulates interest, and paying interest or taking interest in Islam is not allowed. But I can answer that part if the questioner is asking the case in Canada. But for the case of UK, even though I do believe I have a certain knowledge of how the system works in UK, I would prefer if you ask a local sheikh in UK to give you a better understanding, a better answer to your question concerning the loan. In terms of mixed education, I would say we are forced nowadays, if no other way or no other option available. Wallahu a'lam.
Barakallah feekum. A beautiful question and a beautiful answer as well. Just to elaborate on a few things, Shaykhana, that you've mentioned in that wonderful answer. One thing that springs to mind is, how for those that are fit enough to go to university, to obviously control themselves and to benefit themselves in that institution, how can they conduct themselves? So they're in a mixed environment. They'll ideally have workshops, seminars, where they'll have to intermingle just to get project work done. as most of the university programs that they provide, they do offer those services, and you can't say no to those situations. I mean, just generally, how does one conduct themselves in a mixed environment?
Well, first of all, here you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to aid you and to help you, because you doing this so you can be independent, so you can take care of yourself. And I said that's act of worship, that's considered to be ibadah. The second thing, that here we follow the principle ad-darurat tuqaddaru biqadariha. It says the need is you only do what is necessary. If you don't need to be with the team, then don't be with the group. Like if you have a group, a project, if you're working with the group, if you don't need to be in that group, then don't be. If you need to be with them an hour per week, then don't be there for 2 hours. Just be an hour. Do what is necessity and what is necessary for you to do that. And number three, when you are working, remember, when you're doing your homework, remember you are Muslim, and remember you are Muslim, and remember Allah is watching you. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at you, and whatever you do, He will be hold you responsible for. And since you're doing this to mind yourself and to maintain your need, then, and you're doing it for the sake of Allah, make it as pure as possible. Also avoid the places of fitna. If you're a girl and you know these boys, mashallah, they chatting and talking, don't try to be part of it. If you're a boy and you have all these girls, mashallah, don't try to be friendly with them. Do what is necessary and move on, because you here for one purpose, and that is to get your education and to get out of the system so you can be a better place in this world. Wallahu a'lam.